I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 27 of the Sports Sensei's Unleashed. I am one of your co-hosts, Drew Willingham, here on this 4th of July special here for episode 27. Thank you all who are in attendance watching this show at this current moment. The Snowman's Brian Snow is currently out of commission with he's not feeling well today. It was, as we all know, the story behind Mr. Snowman, and he's not doing well. And I'm hoping that at some point during the broadcast that he can jump in. If he can't, it's no big deal. Definitely understand, get well, and hope to see you back here very soon. But today we have a very special fireworks edition. We're going to bring the fire on this 4th of July special, as we are here on Independence Day to discuss sports, 4th of July, barbecues, firework action. It is the Sports Sensei's Unleashed 4th of July special edition. And look at these fireworks in the background. It is absolutely phenomenal having fireworks on the screen while we are talking in this exact moment. Gotta love fireworks. Gotta love Independence Day, gotta love holidays, gotta love sports, and everything in general. And with this being a fireworks show, this is the time for fireworks on this show. It is the ultimate show of Independence Day. Thank you all for being in attendance so far for the Sports Sensei's Unleashed. Had to give you a little bit of firework action here on the show, because we've got some topics to cover in today's episode. But before we do that, I just want to go over some plugs for you real quick. You can find the Snowman Brian Snow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, as well as at snowmanmultimediasports.com if you'd like to reach out to the Snowman. And for all the platforms to check out this show and many other great programs for Snowman Multimedia, check it out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, as well as at snowmanmultimediasports.com. If you want to check out this ugly mug right here, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, as well as at Sertoba.com. And those plugs right here for that are at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, where the struggle is real to be awesome. You can also find on Sertoba.com. And we got some great topics for today, you guys. We got the best 4th of July sports moments right here. We've also got Michael Jordan doesn't approve of some Marcus Jordan dating Larsa Pippen. We've also got best contribution of an individual could make to a 4th of July cookout, as well as Shohei Ohtani latest MLB baseball updates and more for this episode 27 of the Sports Senseis Unleashed. This is also brought to you by Sertoba Media.
Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
And if you guys didn't check out on Sertoba Media last night, we had the In or Out Sports Debate episode 93, where I kind of had a little bit of a pre-4th of July donation where we could talk about as far as something that you can contribute that we'll get to here in a little bit. I may just want to contribute this. No sports, just life. And just tell you that I love Skittles. I absolutely love Skittles. Skittles are amazing. We have something out here at the grocery store that you can combine Skittles with and take into your ordinary life. Sometimes when you need a snack, you can combine water and this. Skittles in a container. You can put Skittles into your water to where your water turns into this. And Skittles water is absolutely amazing. Skittles in a small bottle with water together makes awesomeness. There it is. That is where it is when it comes to Skittles water. You got to have it. You got to share it with a friend. It is a great snack to have out here in these streets. We're going to take a short commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to bring you the fire.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back, but you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now.
Call 866-314-8900. That's 866-314-8900. Again, 866-314-8900.
If you're the kind of person that likes to drive a lot and your car is a little bit older and out of the normal warranty, keep listening. What's going on underneath the hood of your car? If your car is out of warranty, you're at risk of expensive repair bills. Now, for a couple of dollars a day, you can get an extended protection plan for your car. Hey, you love your car, so why not give it a little extra care? And make sure if something goes wrong, your bank account is safe. Literally, for a couple of dollars a day, you can give yourself peace of mind that you purchased a top-tier vehicle repair coverage plan. Call the Auto Protection Network right now and ask how you could save an additional $500 on your policy.
Call 877-845-0463. Call now.
Normally, I give some wild take on the way back from a commercial, but just with everything that's going on, to be honest, as we're live, I'm scrambling for a co-host. So if any of you are podcasters watching this right now and would love to get some action in with yours truly talking on Sports Senseis, reach out to me if I haven't already reached out to you during that commercial break, because this show is not a solo act show. I would appreciate it if a podcaster of some sort that I am friends with, that I have reached out to within the past 10 minutes, could jump on here and help your boy out. If you can't, then I'll just do it solo because I'm a pro and I'll make it happen. But communication is key. Finding out things last minute definitely hurt something that you've put a lot of work and a lot of planning into. So I'm hoping that somebody can come through and help me out here, because I had a great show mapped out for today, but it's kind of hard when you're doing it by yourself with the type of show that we've got here. So we'll see what we've got. Now, you guys can check out this show that we have the normal setup, the normal dynamic of the Snowman and myself out on Tuesdays as we are here right now, Tuesdays at 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time on the Snowman Multimedia, as well as re-syndicated on Sartoba Media. Now, we've got some great topics again, like we talked about before we went to a short break. We've got the best 4th of July moments in sports history. And we've also got Michael Jordan doesn't approve of son Marcus Jordan dating Larsa Pippen. We've also got best contribution an individual can make to a 4th of July cookout, as well as Shohei Ohtani latest MLB baseball updates and more for this episode 27 that looks like I'm going to be doing by myself. Now, we are back to discuss these best 4th of July moments. We'll go ahead and start with the sports moments right here. And with these best 4th of July sports moments, I'm going to open it up to the chat as well. Let me know what you think are the best 4th of July sports moments that we have in the history of sports. But I'm going to tell you what I think are the best moments in sports. When you think about drama within the game of baseball, and you can see it throughout the course and trajectory of the over 100 and some years of the history of baseball, right? The one that I have to look back on the most is the farewell address that we got from Lou Gehrig, and he was honored on July 4th of that year in 1939. The Iron Horse, Lou Gehrig, was forced to retire in June of 1939 after being diagnosed with ALS. The New York Yankees wanted to make sure that Gehrig, who played in 2,130 straight games for the club, was appropriately honored and held a special day for him on the 4th of July in 1939. He responded by giving the most famous speech in baseball history in front of a sold-out crowd at Yankee Stadium. It can be read in full in so many locations, but it contains the most famous quote. Fans, for the past 2 weeks, you've been reading about a bad break. Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. I have been in ballparks for 17 years and have never received anything but kindness and encouragement from you fans. It was a fitting farewell for one of baseball's all-time greats who passed away the following 2 years later in June in 1941. That's probably, I would say, one of the most, if not the most memorable moment that we have in sports, because Lou Gehrig's impact on the game, 2,130 straight games, wasn't broken until Cal Ripken Jr. did it in 1996. And then, everything that happened in between. Lou Gehrig's impact on the game of baseball, still, to my knowledge and to the way that I cover the game, there hasn't been anybody that's impacted the game as big since Lou Gehrig, who's changed the dynamic of the game in so many ways, because Cal Ripken Jr. was a very special talent. Had it not been for him, that record would still stand today. To play in 2,130 straight games is tough. To play in even more than that from what Cal Ripken did was even tougher, and especially during the era that Cal Ripken played in. But I'm going to make this more about Lou Gehrig than Cal Ripken, okay? Back when Lou Gehrig played, there wasn't more advancements in medicine, technology, and the things that Cal Ripken got to experience. And then even today, we've experienced way more upliftings in technology today. And speaking of which, the man, myth, and the legend, Sick Dicky, has joined me. Got to bring him on in here in the chat. What's going on, brother?
How y'all doing? I had to bring out my inner Rick Steiner. Excuse me.
Well, hey, man, I'm glad to finally have you on here.
Well, finally, good to meet you. I'm sorry. Just don't get too thrown off by my sexy voice. I'm sorry. It's not my fault.
Hey, man, likewise, because, they say I got a fitting voice out here for this thing, so I'm just trying my best to make it work. But, you came in right at the right time, Sick, because, the first topic I wanted to discuss today was the best 4th of July sports moments in all of history. And the number one that I started off with was Lou Gehrig giving his final farewell speech, because he retired in June of 1939 after he was diagnosed with ALS. But on July 4th, Yankee Stadium held a very special moment for him and honored him for his accomplishments in the game, playing in 2,130 straight games. To me, I feel like that's one of the best moments in all of sports when it comes to best moments on 4th of July?
I can't really give a good example of a Fourth of July moment in sports, honestly. So I'm out of there for you. But I can say that I do recall something that was really important on Fourth of July.
Okay,
If I can bring it up.
go ahead.
The year was 1987. How I know this is because my father still has this on tape. HBO. Hello, we still on?
Yeah, we're still here. I'm just putting the
Okay, because
graphic up.
you took the screen. Oh, okay.
No, you're good.
Yeah. HBO worked out a benefit concert at the Capitol Center, if you remember that, over in Landover, Maryland, in the Fourth of July weekend of 1987. There, they were doing a benefit concert for Vietnam veterans, hosted by the late John Ritter. You had acts of the day and also acts from the past who performed there, giving their time and effort to say thank you to the troops who did not get their just dues when they came back. In fact, if you remember the band Creedence Clearwater Revival,
CCR, yes, sir.
their frontman John, I keep forgetting his last name. The frontman for it, when he did his set, he addressed the vets and said, "You got the shaft. We know it. You know it. It is what it is. But we want to thank you for everything." In fact, you even had a comedian who did his set there, and that comedian, he was begging to be there, and that man, his name is Clint Clark. He himself was a former Vietnam vet, and he made it a point to be there because the jokes he cracked was something all of them related to, and it's important that everybody be remembered for that. So, even though I served a different military, it's something that should be remembered because what is 4th of July to you guys?
Independence Day. It's
Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
I mean, I live in Norway. Our national day is May 17th. The significance of that goes back to 1814 because that is when Norway, when it was still part of Denmark, set up their constitution. They ratified their constitution, which was their first step to independence. Unfortunately, it was 1814. This was during the Napoleonic Wars. Denmark would end up siding with a resurging Napoleon. Sweden, who was a rival, sided with the British. And in November of that year, Norway was handed over from Denmark to Sweden and would remain under the Swedish crown until 1907.
Okay.
So
that's definitely a big significance because that's like over 200 years ago.
Yeah. Then again, where I'm originally from, May 24th is our Independence Day because that's when we celebrated finally liberating our country from I don't know if anybody's ever heard where I'm from. You ever heard of a country called Eritrea? It's right next to Ethiopia.
I've heard you just talk about it on Snowman in the morning, but I haven't actually, until you brought it up, I haven't heard of it.
You've heard of Ethiopia, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, we're just their cousins. So May 24th is our Independence Day. So we should also understand the importance of all these days. You see, like a lot of people, I know we're talking about sports here, but because of the day and the significance of it historically, how many people even take the time to teach their kids what's so important about it? Most people think about it as just barbecues, fireworks. Nobody not recalls the name John Hancock and where the reference of a John Hancock comes from.
Mm-hmm.
I studied U.S. history as a kid growing up. I went to an international school. Excuse me.
Hey, well, you brought up more points than I've heard kids brought up on the actual date in so much time because people think of 4th of July here of fireworks, barbecues, spending time with family. Yeah, which I mean, that's still good to be part of it, but the overall message needs to be sent to these kids because if the kids were more educated on the actual facts of the historical elements of the date and actually appreciated things a little bit more, because as time goes on, it seems like people are appreciating less and less of the past. And if you didn't have the past, you wouldn't have the future. And if people didn't know what the past was all about, they would keep making the same mistakes over and over again.
Absolutely.
So
this is why 1984 is important here because like that old saying goes, Those who control the present control the past. Those who control the past control the future.
Absolutely. That's definitely a great point to bring up. When I asked you best moments of 4th of July sports, I did not anticipate that to be your answer, but it was definitely a good one because for any historical buffs out there who love to learn some new things out there, hopefully Sick just taught you that.
Which brings me to our first sponsor.
Ooh.
My personal sponsor. The appearance of Sick Diggy is brought to you by Screwball VPN. The VPN all the way out of left field. So if you want to come out of that left field, choose Screwball VPN in association with Drew Willingham sponsor, Slackjaw VPN. Where the slacking be smooth.
Yeah, that's something too. Now that I finally get to talk to you on here, the sayings that you drop in these comments that we read, just absolutely are entertaining to me. I know they're entertaining to other people, but from my own personal experience with the health setbacks and having to take some time off, and then coming back to one of the things that I was looking forward to coming back to was the wild comments that you would put in these chats for me to actually read off to the fans, because it's entertainment for me, and if I'm having fun on here, other people are having fun too. So just from me to you, now that we're actually talking, I just wanted to thank you for those comments, because little did you know they have uplifted me into getting back quicker than I anticipated.
Well, I'm grateful. I'm glad. I was of a big help in a way to help you out. Overcome a lot of things, because laughter is the best source. Best medicine, as they say.
Absolutely, and I love to laugh, and especially when I do moments like I did on my show last night. No sports, just life. And just tell you that I love Skittles. I absolutely love Skittles. Skittles are amazing. We have something out here at the grocery store that you can combine Skittles with and take into your ordinary life. Sometimes when you need a snack, you can combine water and this. Skittles in a container. You can put Skittles into your water to where your water turns into this. And Skittles water is absolutely amazing. Skittles in a small bottle with water together makes awesomeness.
I've never heard of that. Honestly, up here we can't have Skittles. It's kind of illegal.
Really?
Well, there's certain things that we can't have here, like Gatorade is banned from here because there's something in one of the ingredients is kind of considered illegal. So here they have something called Powerade, which is an alternative. The EU is kind of strict like that.
Wow. Well, I mean, Powerade sucks. But they have different safety standards and whatnot. There's a method to the madness. But I haven't had any Skittles water today, but I do have it right here. In here, Sick, you got to come on over here at some point. You travel on over here and try this. Literally, if you've ever tried the candy, it literally tastes like you're drinking Skittles.
When I was a kid, I used to like Skittles. Taste the rainbow. I've been exposed to a lot of this, so. But
like when you put the Skittles in your hand and you hold them in your hand, they all melt in your hand and stuff like that. Yeah, you can taste it right in the cup. But they're getting
I'm an '80s baby, so I should know a lot of this. What are you talking about? I was born in '82, so I know about this.
Hey, I'm only 5 years behind you. I was in '87, so we're still both '80s babies, man. But
that's cool.
But technically, I fall under the millennial category, I guess. But
actually, all '80s babies are millennials. It's just that the '85. Yeah, but then again, you have that crossover between Gen X and millennials called Xennials. Mm-hmm. That's late '70s, early '80s babies. We're like kind of a hybrid of the two. Because we were like that transition between the generations.
Hybrid babies, nice, yeah.
And the fact that we also, because we all grew up watching sports change, in a way, from a young perspective. Whether it was soccer, baseball, whatever, we got to see the evolution of some of the sports, especially when it came to sports equipment, the way the game was played. I mean, anybody can tell you, and I grew up playing soccer, so I can tell you that, the way football was played back in the '80s is not the way how it is played now. Or how baseball was. It was a different game, different atmosphere, different attitude.
Especially even when I played. Especially when I played as a kid, because back then you could still run over the catcher. And, you're still dealing with several injuries and stuff that can happen as a result of that. And they changed all that up, over the course of the past decade or so. So you can't even do that anymore.
Well, also, the issues of concussions have become very important to address.
CTE, yep, absolutely.
CTE being what it is, especially like in hockey, because look at Sidney Crosby. He's going to have to come to terms with that he may develop dementia-related CTE later on in life.
Absolutely. Now, I want to go ahead and shift gears a little bit into our next topic, just to keep things rolling with the preset topics. And if you're not sure, with what we got going on, that I can rattle off what I've got prepared for them as this next one. The GOAT, Michael Jordan, doesn't approve of his son dating former teammate's wife or ex-wife, Larsa Pippen. How do you feel about this one? Do you have much knowledge of this going on? Have you heard anything about it on the other outlets or whatnot as far as this steamy situation going on right here?
I will say, first and foremost, I try to avoid celebrity gossip as much as possible because it doesn't really affect me. I think it's really trivial. But what's going on between, first of all, she's been divorced from Scotty for how long now?
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
She's moved on. And Michael, his relationship with Scotty being what it is, he's not comfortable with it. There's a brotherhood, there's a camaraderie with it. So as far as his son being involved with this older one, he's like, something doesn't smell right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You smell that? It doesn't smell right. An older woman with a younger man, in a way, it can work, but in certain situations, it's looks can be perceiving. But it is what it is. They're grown men. They have to deal with it. And plus, is it Jeffrey or the other one?
It's Marcus.
Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, Marcus is now an adult. He's out of his father's life. He's moved out of his parents' home. He's got to be an adult about everything. So if he's going to be involved with this woman, he's going to have to come to terms with the fact that, yes, this woman was married to somebody who was basically his uncle. And how they reconcile everything needs to be sorted out among themselves. So I say, leave it be.
Yeah, I mean,
sort it out. It's a private matter.
You threw out some really good facts with that, and I'll throw out just put a little bit more on top of it. Marcus Jordan, 32 years old, dating his father's ex-teammate's ex-wife. It just sounds like some West Virginia bumpkin type of stuff when it comes to some things that you don't want to hear about. But however, you got 32-year-old Marcus dating 48-year-old Larsa, who walked away with half of Scotty's retirement fund. It has been known in the reports that she walked away from half of his retirement fund from the Bulls. Now, you got Marcus, who could potentially double dip on Pop's fortunes and Scotty's fortunes at the same time. So when it comes to financial security, the man's smart. The man is smart with who he's choosing to hook up with or whatnot. We'll see if everything works out peacefully and in paradise. And I'm not one that generally likes to get into the gossip either. But when you think about the fact that you've got the man who is the son of the greatest of all time messing around with the greatest of all times, ex-teammates, ex-wife, who has half of the ex-teammates' pension. That's a lot to process right there. Now, it does seem like an ugly split is going to be going its way at some point. I don't think things are going to go amicably between the entire situation. At some point, whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever holiday they get up for, if they even get up together, if this thing keeps steaming and trending upward, they're going to have a situation where something boils over at some point within the Jordan household.
Well, thankfully, his parents are divorced. Thankfully, Michael and Juanita were divorced a while back. So Michael doesn't have to worry about any debacle if Marcus goes to Juanita's house for this. Although I will say, she's going to probably let him know, you better not bring her in this house. You're not coming over with her. There are certain things and there are certain lines you do not cross. unless you're allowed to. But then again, here's a scarier here's a hypothetical scenario for you, Drew. Imagine if it was Jeffrey Jordan in a relationship with Alexis Rodman, Dennis Rodman's oldest daughter. No one would bat an eye about that. They're both around the same age. Nobody's has any baggage from a previous relationship that could cause any trouble. And their fathers knew each other very well, good teammates. And they grew up around each other. That would probably be a more acceptable situation than what's going on with Marcus. But that is just still celebrity gossip. So let's just leave it be. Let's focus on things that are more important.
Absolutely. We'll get back to that in a second. Once we acknowledge that even Mick says, who cares? Sorry, Mick. I just
my sentiments exactly.
Yeah, just to be honest, there wasn't much in sports to talk about for this 4th of July special, and I wanted to just throw something out there that could be potentially funny that I could say a one-line statement for maybe a short later on in these YouTube clips, or who knows. But thank you guys for the contributions to the comments that we'll get to here in a second. But we're right here at the midway point of the show, Sick. I want to go ahead and take us to a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more Independence Day action and then go into a little bit of baseball.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning-fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back, but you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now.
Call 866-314-8900. That's 866-314-8900. Again, 866-314-8900.
If you're the kind of person that likes to drive a lot and your car is a little bit older and out of the normal warranty, keep listening. What's going on underneath the hood of your car? If your car is out of warranty, you're at risk of expensive repair bills. Now, for a couple of dollars a day, you can get an extended protection plan for your car. Hey, you love your car, so why not give it a little extra care and make sure if something goes wrong, your bank account is safe. Literally, for a couple of dollars a day, you can give yourself peace of mind that you purchased a top-tier vehicle repair coverage plan. Call the Auto Protection Network right now and ask how you could save an additional $500 on your policy.
Call 877-845-0463. Call now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a show that absolutely despises Yo Kang, LeBron James. The Sports Sensei's Unleashed. I had to, man. I had to.
You said it wrong, man. You said it wrong, first of all. It's supposed to be Yo Kang.
I can't. It's copyrighted by Cole.
Oh, is it?
I don't know. I just don't want to steal from him. Like,
oh no! Oh, great! Now, you know what this means? Now I'm gonna call my lawyer. I gotta contact his lawyer, and we gotta sort this out. So I'm gonna have to ask him, where do I cut? Okay, where do I cut the check, or do I got to do this in PayPal directly?
Just come to the
States.
States.
I got PayPal. Don't worry.
Just come to the States. Go to Texas. Have lunch with Cole. I'm sure everything will work out. You'll be all right.
Wait a minute, isn't he in Tennessee?
I
He lives
know
in
that's
Tennessee
right.
right now.
I mixed it up. I
He's
keep
from
saying
Houston, but he's right now
yeah.
living in Nashville.
Yep, you're right. I got the T's mixed up. But yeah, you're right. He is in Tennessee. I got another buddy of mine that's in Texas, and I collaborate with sometimes, and my mind's
Oh,
still
don't
scrambled.
worry. I have it. I have it a lot confusing sometimes with my relatives because I got relatives stateside and in Canada. Got folks in Texas, West Coast, the DMV area. So, hey, you got a lot of my people in the DMV area.
Okay.
You're in the DMV area yourself, aren't you?
I'm in Virginia. Yep. So I'm not
Oh, okay.
far.
Yeah, especially Virginia.
I'm like an hour and 45, 2 minutes out from DC, or 2 hours out from
Yes,
DC. So
especially in places like Alexandria and whatnot, you're gonna find a lot of us.
okay, yeah, we definitely definitely have to get up with it sometime because I go and cover the Washington Commanders events and do that stuff. Or I've done it with my previous company that I was with, and it looks like there's a decent chance that I might be able to get back into it this season with the new one. So I don't want to put too much out there just yet because everything's still working behind the scenes for it.
Yeah.
But we could talk about that more off the air at some point. But we definitely have another 4th of July and sick with where you're from and your and what you guys celebrate. You can kind of answer this based on your own experiences as well. And for this one, based on here in the US and the contributions, what would be the best contribution an individual could make to a 4th of July cookout or to a celebration cookout in general? And this is the graphic that I have for that. And for those of you who are watching, throw it in the comments what you feel is what would be your best contribution. What are you taking today? Those of you in the USA, what are you taking to your cookout today for contributions?
Considering Norwegians and Swedes, like Scandinavians in particular, are big on barbecuing, especially in the summer. Sometimes you got to wonder, okay, who's going to be the barbecue master? Who's the master
Pit
on the
master.
grill?
Yeah.
Who's the pit master?
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I remember on Netflix they have a show about that. They're a reality show I watched. I haven't got a chance on the second season, but if you want to bring something unique, you gotta. Oh yeah, that could come. That'd be good, but then again,
Mick.
very good. I mean, then again, beer's kind of expensive up here. Scandinavians, shit's. Excuse my French. Are we allowed to cuss?
Yeah, I mean, I at this point, I'll just edit. I'll bleep it out.
All right. Well, bleep happens. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But beer is kind of expensive over here. But if you want to get some good, like maybe a different recipe, a potato salad, maybe. If you're collaborating with somebody else on the pit as a pit master, especially nowadays, considering some people have like certain dietary restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
What's the best kind of barbecues you can, or what kind of buns are good for everybody? Especially like for example, like myself, I have celiac disease and I'm also lactose intolerant. So you got to have something that's gluten and lactose free for me. Also, where we're from, there's some people because of religious reasons they can't eat certain types of meat, especially with bacon. So you got to have chicken alternatives or turkey alternatives. Oh, plenty of that. Nick, unfortunately, it's mostly families. That's the problem. So
yeah, you can't be sharing
unless you're
families women. That's not right. Yeah, you can't be doing that.
No. Well, I mean, it's good. It's look but don't touch policy. It's a look but don't touch. Even then, you got to keep just move your eyes. Don't move your neck. Your better half might hear the swivel.
Yep. Can't be swiveling your neck around too much. Mick, you got to watch with those women's suggestions or whatnot. But I like where you were going with the pit master stuff, and it in that situation kind of depends on where you're at, because if someone's hosting the event, more than likely that person's going to be the pit master. That's very rarely. I mean, I have seen it to where other people have prepared stuff, and then, like, of course, you give it to the pit master, and then they're, of course, preparing it with the food that they've got, depending on what their grill setup is, how large of an event you're having, how many people you're having. It could be a very small one, depending on how big and the size of the party. But, Mick,
even if say the person is a vegetarian or a vegan, you can always have meat, meat substitutes, for that person. Like nowadays, we all have children who have some types of allergies, so you got to be considerate to them.
And
we all got to work together.
And that's grown a lot over the last, I'd say, 20 years because, you and I just saying earlier, you were 80s babies. I don't remember in the 90s ever, unless it was just over my head because I was a kid. I don't remember in the 90s ever us having any type of substitutes for like vegan or anything like that. Like you either ate the burger and hot dogs and what came with it, or you didn't, or the barbecue or whatever. Nowadays, things have changed so much, and it's not because of like pointing the finger, like, no, because of you, we're not, it's not anything like that. It's more along the lines of these things weren't that much available back then. Like you didn't really hear about it. You didn't hear about organic foods. You didn't hear about lactose intolerant options. There were medicines for like, in case you got like sick because you are lactose intolerant. But as far as the vegan option and all the organic and all that stuff, I didn't recall hearing any of that until like I was maybe a teenager in the early 2000s and working in a grocery store. At that point, then I started seeing those options and hearing it, but I didn't really hear about it when I was a kid.
Well, when I grew up, first of all, in the Middle East, I grew up in KSA, Saudi Arabia, and we had like alternatives, and there were like alternatives for like, for Franks or whatnot, only to use chicken or something like that. Because like, like I said, we couldn't have pork. Some of us couldn't have pork. Like, and I do remember like they used to be chicken dogs with cheese in them by Oscar Myers. If you remember
those are pretty good, actually.
Yeah. I'm just growing up in the 90s. We used to have like cherry Coke instead of Dr. Pepper. That was good.
It's still here.
So
cherry Coke's still here.
Man. Yeah, I gave up drinking soda a long time ago, but man, good memories though. But what was really annoying by everybody was like the Pepsi Clear. You remember that?
Yep. I don't remember it being good. Oh, they brought it back. I want to say like 5 or 6 years ago, but it's for a very short time. I know exactly what you're talking about, that clear Pepsi, but like you, I haven't had soda in a while either. I've been sticking to either water and maybe some of these substitutes in water, but no.
Well, since you said they brought it back, it's only fitting that I bring up the old Chris Bates quote of "What in the all types of blue hell?" but that begs the question. That begs the question for me. If hell is blue, does that make heaven red?
I would have to say Bishop Bullwinkle would say this.
Hell to the no, to the no, 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 no. Hell no, to the no, no.
And that song is actually available on Spotify, folks. Look for Bishop Bullwinkle.
It is.
Good song.
I had to pull out one clip today because with these producing skills that I got, because if not, somebody would probably tell me this.
You're fired.
It's a lot better than someone coming up to you and saying this, though.
Would you please shut the hell up?
Absolutely. So, guys, let us know here in the comments what you think about. Oh, we got one more comment about this topic right here. We've got baby back ribs from Mick. We're talking about with sick substitutes and stuff like that. With what they have to eat where he's from. That's kind of a little bit different. But over here, yes, baby back ribs are definitely big when it comes to this particular holiday. But
they eat like here they'll probably have like moose or deer or elk. Sometimes that's better. It's more healthier, especially wild game. By the way, since we're talking about sports, I do want to give a shout out to one Wise El Jefe right now, because I know where he is. He's at home or wherever, and he's watching the Baltimore Orioles at Yankee Stadium. It's right now the top of the fifth, and the Yankees are leading 3-1.
Yep. And we are actually going to, you actually got there a little bit ahead of me, but our next topic.
Oh, excuse me.
Is no, you're fine. Is a little bit of baseball. And this one is Shohei Ohtani latest MLB updates and more. So no worries, Sick. You just got us a little bit started on this topic, but just glad that we are definitely on that one because I absolutely love baseball. And with what Ohtani has been doing, what are your thoughts on how Shohei Ohtani is starting to change baseball a little bit with being a multi-diversital player? pitching and playing the field?
First of all, we all know that, first of all, Shohei, how long has he been in the MLB?
Honestly, not that long. He started playing in MLB in 2018. So what is that? This is his 6th season now? Yeah.
Before that, he made his bones in Japan, correct?
Yep, he was there for 5 seasons from 2013 to 2017.
So understand, and he's coming from a different baseball system and how they train their players and how they're taught to be as multifaceted as possible. You cannot allow players to be pigeonholed into one position or another. So his ability and the fact he's consistent has contributed to what he's been able to do so far in the MLB, and his ability to continue to contribute to the Angels. Only time will tell, barring any injuries he might pick up later on. But if he can continue to remain consistent, he's going to have a long-lasting impact on the league. And that's going to make a lot of players rethink training, being just a specialist in one area or another, learning to be more like not a jack of all trades, but a master of all trades. That might even, and I mean, if I could use this, I could compare this to like basketball. A lot of people, like you take what's the problem with a lot of players in the NBA right now, especially the young ones? They come into college, one and done in some cases, but they don't have the fundamentals drilled into them. You look at guys like Luka Doncic, who started out at the basketball academy in Real Madrid, so he's had the fundamentals drilled into him since he was 13. Unfortunately, he does have that Spanish flair when he likes to play his game. Look, what's his name? Nikola Jokic. He was developed by playing at junior level in Serbia, so he's had the fundamentals drilled into him, and he's learned to fine tune it. As far as Shohei Ohtani, it's the same thing, because in Japan, how they train these kids, they've been training them since they were young, and they've got the fundamentals down to a science. It's not just in Japan only, also in Korea, in Taiwan. I'm kind of curious, how much of an influence this could have for other talents who want to make it in the MLB. Like, for example, European players, like coming out of the Netherlands. We have a small league right here in Norway. Instead of just being like pigeonholed or relegated to just one position or one thing, but to be able to get the fundamentals down and try to learn to branch out into other aspects of the game. That might change the dynamics of the player, because that shows how multifaceted all players are. Hell, as a reflection to, as a man, you can't just be one thing. You have to be multifaceted. Something that Brian and myself and a few others have discussed.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a great take with that, because in America, when you get to like college or later on in like high school playing career, they try to get you to focus more in one area, whether you're going to actually be a hitter and you play in the field in multi different positions, or you're going to pitch. And if you're going to pitch, we're going to have a DH for you, so that way we can have you pitch as long as you can to the game. Because if you're pitching and you're hitting at the same time, you're using up your energy to where instead of maybe only getting 5 good innings out of you, we might be able to get 7, potentially 8 for this setup man and a closer to come in and finish the game. So with me being a coach as well in semi-pro ball, I've had to make those decisions as well. So, and seeing that throughout the ranks of tiers of where baseball takes you. So, Shohei Ohtani is a very special talent. And like you're saying, pretty much in different countries, it's not that uncommon from what it sounds like to be multifaceted within the game of baseball. In America,
absolutely not.
Yeah, in America it is, which we haven't, which this is the first big story that we've been able to really talk about when it comes to a multifaceted player in baseball since Babe Ruth, which has been, damn near 100 years ago because by this point, 100 years ago, he had shifted into primarily outfield or first base in hitting. And I feel like at some point, MLB may try to, whether it's MLB or the Angels, or if he leaves the Angels and goes to a different team, they're going to try to edge him into deciding, hey, man, are you going to pitch or are you going to hit? Because you could more than likely have more of a lengthier career, make more money, and put up more stats if you actually convert over to just hitting, because he's got 31 home runs now. We're not even at the All-Star break yet. Pitching-wise, though, he's only 6-4, and he's just under a 3-run ERA at 2.97. So when you're 6-4, granted, if you were on a better team, you wouldn't be 6-4 because he is a good pitcher. It's because he's on the Angels why he's 6-4. But if he were to move to New York, not the Mets, because we've seen how lowly the Mets are doing this year. But if he went to the
right now they're in some financial straits right now.
Well, not only that, but the Mets have had a lot of injuries this year too. That has really cost them. And it had not been for that, because on paper this offseason, the Mets were looking great, which is why Verlander left the World Series champion Astros in free agency and went to the Mets. So, if this happened during the offseason, Shohei Ohtani had a choice and they were actually moving pieces around, probably for financial reasons, they wouldn't be able to bring him in, like you said, because they can't really afford Ohtani and the other pieces that they brought in there. But I'm talking more along the Yankees. If the Yankees could make some moves and bring in Ohtani if they really, really wanted to, and I feel like with the fact that he can play on both sides, pitching and fielding and hitting, you got more options with him than you do on anybody else in that ball club.
If I may cause a kind of like pushback on what you said about him being confined to just pitching.
Okay.
Let's understand, first of all, I love sports, first of all, but I've also had to learn that you have to branch off into other aspects that are related to sports, like sports science, biomechanics, sports medicine. Him, in a sense, batting as much as pitching kind of keeps him in shape as well. Because, he's not, because repetitive motions can sometimes be detrimental to his throwing. So the fact that he's batting as much also brings some balance and stability to his own body, because he's also working other muscles. That way, that helps strengthen himself. And then in the long term, that provides longevity to his career. Because we're seeing how many players right now who focus just on repetitive motions of pitching, that they end up having to get tendon and transplant surgeries. What's it called? The Johnny something, I think? Johnny Left surgery?
Tommy John.
Tommy John surgery. Speaking of which, I remember, who was it? Dave Bautista in WWE. He had to undergo like a similar surgery where they had to take a ligament from his knee and had to reattach it to his elbow. But like I said, the Tommy John surgery, because these guys are just relegated to pitching. That repetitive motion can sometimes be a wear and tear on you. So unless you have this is why they say you have to play one sport in one season, a different sport in the other, because you got to work different muscles. So even when you're playing, you're trying to stay in shape. You can't just be specialized in one way. I mean, another sport we see this is cricket, because when one team is fielding, by the way, they don't call it pitching, they call it bowling or delivering. So when you're pitching or you're a bowler, they have to rotate who bowls each time, while other players have to field. Except for one guy who's called the wicket keeper, similar to a catcher. But each individual take turns bowling. That way, nobody gets overexerted doing the same repetitive motions.
That's pretty interesting. I mean,
it's a rotation, and that also is important to keep in. Not to mention a lot of physiotherapists, for those who specialize in biomechanics, will tell you repetitive motions can gradually wear down your body. So if you're doing several different types of motions and type of actions in a game, so in the case of Ohtani, you're batting as much as you're pitching. You're keeping your shoulder in shape, your arm in shape as well, because you're doing different motions and working on different muscles. So that maintains the stability in there.
And it seems like, from what you're saying, that cricket's got a little bit more handle of player management than baseball does?
Not necessarily, but the concept I'm saying is similar to what Shohei Ohtani is using in baseball, where he's not just pitching, he's also batting.
Mm-hmm.
And the rotation they have is a little different, but the game is a little different, but the principles are somewhat parallel or similar too. Let's not forget, baseball has its roots in cricket.
It does.
I mean,
You're
for
right.
example, like the batsman and the wicket keeper in cricket, they wear, shin guards, similar to what a catcher wears. The face mask that a catcher wears. The batting helmets, similar to what you have in cricket.
Yeah, it's definitely a different style in cricket. And, PlayStation, I forget what year, but PlayStation came out with a cricket video game. This was like mid-2000s. I remember my brother had it.
PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, or PlayStation 3?
PlayStation 2. That's how old it was. It had cricket, and there was a rugby game between the two. Love playing both of them. But I remember playing the cricket game over at my brother's house. He had it. I don't know where he found it because I have not even seen the video game since. I think it was one of those like short shelf life video games because I even managed a GameStop, a video game store, for a couple of years, and they traded in video games. Yeah, they traded in video games and all sorts of stuff. And I still
had a GameStop here. We had a GameStop here. It shut down. They decided to shut down operations in the Nordic region. They shut down. I remember the date that they completely closed all their operations here. August 17th, 2020.
I'm not surprised. Since I haven't worked there in over 10 years, we could talk smack about GameStop. But I just remember looking through the database and trying to find that freaking cricket game. And I couldn't because I was just trying to find it for myself because reason why I think the disc that my brother had, because he's got kids, or at some point, like it got scratched up, wouldn't play anymore because that's how those games were famous back in the day. I was just trying to find it for myself. Never could find it. And I didn't want to continue on with my career with GameStop just to try to find a freaking cricket game. But no,
I don't blame you.
The things definitely turned out a lot better for me now that I'm in the IT world and far away from video game management. So, but when it comes to this, I mean, I'm glad we got to go on a little bit of a Shohei Ohtani rant. And just so you guys know who are just now joining the show, we're going to go a little over today on this special edition of the 4th of July because Sick got here towards the middle and we're getting caught up on things. And we talked about Shohei Ohtani. Let's talk a little bit of MLB action. You were just talking about the Orioles and Wise El Jefe and all that. Go ahead and give us a little bit more dive into your take of where you're about to go with that.
No, I just said that, speaking of which, right now, because I'm looking at it on MLB.com, good source, very reliable source from what I hear. Right now, the game's all tied up 3 each. It's at the bottom of the 5th. Right now, it's 2 outs. Yankees have a runner on first.
You want to know a team that the resurgence of that is really like smacked me senseless? So freaking Miami Marlins. Where did they come from? Miami Marlins have got a 7-0 lead on the St. Louis Cardinals right now. And that's in the bottom of the 6th. Where did this come from, Sick? Did you see this coming in the NL East?
No. You should not be surprised with some of these because let's not forget, every game is different. You're going to have a good day. You're going to have off games. Now, you're going to have good days, or on days, off days, or good days, bad days.
Yeah,
and let's not forget.
And 37.
Yeah, but here's the thing. This is what makes any sport.
Did we lose you? I lost you at this would make any sport. Hopefully you come on back here shortly. They're Sick. But with what I was saying as far as the Miami Marlins, where they were playing at before, how they were playing, 49-37. I did not see them being like this point of the season. Now, can they cool off during the second half of the season? Absolutely. But they still have a long ways to go as they are 9 games behind the division leading Atlanta Braves, who are 57-20, mother fathering 7. 57-27 for the Atlanta Braves. I'm looking forward seeing what my Braves can do, because I am an Atlanta Braves fan. It looks like we got Sick back. Let's see if he's back with us.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, my man. Glad that you could make it here for the show. And I kind of had to go a little bit off for a second. We were talking about the Miami Marlins, and you were telling me that I shouldn't be surprised that they are 49-37 right now. Go ahead and let me know why you feel that way.
Look at it this way. There's always going to be a dark horse. There's always going to be a dark horse. And the question is, when do you realize a certain team is going to be a dark horse? If there's going to be resurgence, there's going to be a reason why.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, right now, management has got the team on board. The players are buying with the managers telling them or selling them, and they're finding ways to win. That's how you get things done in any sport.
They still have
a
long
way to
get the players
on board. It is a long way to go, but if you take it one game at a time, things can work out. So right now they're just enjoying the game, enjoying the process. They're focused on doing one thing at a time. That's right now. It's just get to where they need to be, get the pennant. We'll deal with the playoffs later, because people forget preseason, regular season, postseason. The play is completely different.
You're right. And the team that's leading them by 9 games in the NL East, the Atlanta Braves, definitely have experience. And there's still a good portion of players on that team who were part of that World Series championship just a couple of years ago. And they're sending 8 of their players to the All-Star game in the Atlanta Braves. And I'm not trying to be too much of a homer, as I am an Atlanta Braves fan. But I have to at least say that when you get a 9-game lead over a team that's been at the bottom of the division for quite some time in the Miami Marlins, I would have to say you've got a comfortable lead at this point when you're 9 games leading in first place. Phillies are in third, and they're 12.5 games back at 44-39. They should just be glad to have a winning record with their struggles that they've had this year. The Mets, though, the lowly Mets, who everyone was thinking they were going to win the division, and I'm not even going to be one to say otherwise, because you can go back on certain in or out sports debate shows that I had during the off season leading up to this season. And I was actually drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit, pardon the French, even though I've turned my water into Skittles water that looks similar to Kool-Aid. I mean, I'm drinking it. And I was drinking it at that point, thinking the Mets were going to actually take this division. And I'm glad to be surprised and to be wrong in this case that the actual Atlanta Braves, my team, are smoking the division right now. But I can't get too excited because, as you and I were just saying a minute ago, it's still got a long way to go for this season. It's still very early. We're only in the first half, and good teams that have been hot during the first half can cool off during the second half. And then when you get to the playoffs, it's a different animal. Just like you said, you got to be ready for playoff baseball once September gets here.
I mean, look at it this way. You got to understand that this is 162 games. It's a long, grueling in a few months.
It really is.
And the possibilities of players getting injured, especially at certain times, like say like around All-Star week, that'll put a blow on you, especially how important you are to the team. You'd be surprised how many teams falter when their main guy is injured. How much that takes the wind out of their sails.
Now, is there any team, throughout all 6 divisions in baseball, AL East, the AL Central, the AL West, the NL East, the NL Central, and the NL West, is there a team throughout the entire league that is actually surprising you at this moment in how they're playing and how they're producing? It can be good or bad.
I can't say right now, honestly. And my reasons is this, because I've learned to really scale down my expectations on anything. So I just say, let's just watch and see what happens. Let's just watch.
It looks like we got some breaking news there, Sick.
What we got here?
We've got Mick comments he has breaking news. Mike Trout left hand fracture.
Hold on, let me check. Let me look this up.
It's a wrist injury. Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. Mike Trout goes on 10-day IL with wrist injury diagnosed as a HAMATE. I don't know how you say that. Hamate fracture? What's that? A hamate fracture?
I'm looking it up.
That's wild. That's definitely wild. So thank you, Mick, for the breaking news that we have as far as that goes. That's definitely not good for that. Sensei Drew and Sensei Diggy says Victor Locke. Victor Locke is in the chats. Well, just accidentally hit my
Actually, in my case, it would have to be Mestre Diggy, because I am, although this is a dojo, I am a capoeira master here, so to speak.
Ooh. Man,
that's my favorite martial art right there, capoeira. I used to practice it.
Damn, man, I might have to look into that a little bit more, because I'm not skilled into that. Got some karate, but not that.
I mean, my teacher also taught me some Muay Thai, which was kind of fun. But anybody who understands most people tell you their introduction to capoeira was Tekken 3, Eddie Gordo.
I love that game. I love that. I love the Tekken series, man. That was Tekken 3 is probably one of my favorite ones out of all of them.
It's a PlayStation 1 classic. It's unfortunate that you cannot find it on the PlayStation Store due to they had a guest character, Gon, the little reptile, little dinosaur. The owners of that IP, unfortunately, they could not come into a deal with Namco or Bandai Namco and PlayStation to have that game available. So this is the business aspect of video games, folks. IPs, licensing, they all matter. And I'm looking at Mr. Trout. Check out Mike Trout. And it says here, I'm looking at ESPN. Oh, that's a reliable source. When it went test on his wrist, including X-rays, and his waiting results. It says here.
Yeah. I've got even though people want to give some left factual stuff on the Bleacher Report. The Bleacher Report is where I got this information at as far as the 10-day IL, and for the most part, they're pretty accurate from what I've seen with the things that I've discussed in the past. So,
a wrist injury is no joke, especially when you're trying to bat or something like that.
Yeah, exactly, and especially with where he bats, because that's your actual. Since he's a right-handed batter, that's his. This is
left wrist.
Yeah, and even if you swing one-handed, you're still putting all that torque on that wrist. So yeah, that's going to affect not only just the ability to hit the ball, but power as well. So
not to mention, I mean, one thing you do not want to have is. Now it says here, I'm checking out here. It says here on Fan Nation. It says here he's undergoing tests at post-game. Trout spoken his reaction. As long as it's not a fracture, that's good. But if it's a sprain or a strain or a muscle issue, because one of the problems people have to talk about, a really serious issue for most people, whether it's sports or otherwise, is carpal tunnel.
Yeah,
you're familiar with that.
Working with an IT, yes sir.
Carpal tunnel is no joke. I mean, carpal tunnel. I mean, you can see a massage therapist or a chiropractor there to help do that, but you also need to learn how to use certain exercises to like strengthen your wrist muscles. Another thing also people have to worry about regarding wrist injuries is tendonitis in the wrists. For example, if anybody remembers a boxer, Prince Nassim Hamed, if you remember that name, Prince Nassim, British boxer, featherweight, I believe was. Powerful puncher, but the problem was he ended up developing. Hey, Sensei Cole here.
Sensei Cole, episode 25.
Yeah.
Welcome to the building.
But like a
huge blow to the Angels, says Cole.
Indeed. And if you understand that the wrist injuries are no joke, folks. Carpal tunnel. If you get like a ligament tear, I remember was in hockey, a player accidentally had to undergo surgery because a teammate stepped on his wrist with their skate. Nearly severed the tendon in that. But like I said about Prince Nassim, because he was punching so hard, his hands would swell up. He ended up developing tendonitis in his hands and his wrists, which had been plaguing him since his retirement. And the long term, and having aches in your wrist, especially if you don't know how to like overcome that, it can be detrimental, especially for a batter if you're left-handed. Unless he can try to like mediate that by trying to switch to batting left, he's going to have to like do some serious rehab to not only just repair it, but also to strengthen the muscles and the tendons in his wrist. Because he throws right, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
So catching that ball, that's also good, because when you're trying to catch the ball, sometimes you can actually tweak your wrist or something like that, especially when you're trying to go real high or jump or dive for a ball. First thing you can do is sprain your wrist. I mean, I've seen soccer players, like goalies, underneath their gloves, you're going to understand their hands and wrists are taped up as support, trying to block balls, trying to block shots or catch the ball and whatnot.
The only problem that I have with this is, you were saying earlier about the fracture part, depending on the severity, if this actual report is true, it's saying that he is diagnosed with that fracture. So it just depends on the severity of it and how the actual healing time will be. The fact they only put him on a 10-day IL is not that bad. I think that he should be able to come back from it. But at the same time, like Cole said, that is a huge blow to the Angels considering where they're at in this season.
Absolutely.
So, and Cole says, bouts to the Sensei, Sick Diggy and D Willie. I remember Prince Nassim, dude flipped into the ring every intro.
Known for his flashy entrances, his ability, his head movements, his ability to taunt his opponent, and just use his counter strikes and frustrate everybody. He was brash, he was loud, he was obnoxious, and he always managed to get the job done until the end of his career, where he lost a couple fights. But when that man hit, despite being that short, that small, and fighting at a lower weight class, when he hit hard, but it took a toll on his wrists and his hands, because when he got back to the dressing room, when he had to take his gloves off and they were removing the wraps, you'd notice that his hands were swollen up.
And I'm going to have to go back and watch these. I'm sure there's going to be highlights.
Tendinitis is no joke for us. Hamate fracture. Hang on. Let me look this up. A hamate fracture. Let me look this up. If it's what I think it is.
While you look that up, I'm going to post this one. Nassim also developed tendinitis in avoiding going to sleep in the ring. So Cole definitely knows a lot about this guy right here. I don't. So I got to do my homework. I've never heard of him before.
Yeah. Okay. A hamate fracture is basically a hamate bone or a unicorn or a unsuformed bone, which is a hook bone at the base of your hands, right at the base of your hands, where your hand meets the wrist on the outside. Okay. That bone is important because that keeps stable. That bone is just like where your it's at the base of your ring and pinky fingers. Okay. You can look it up on Wikipedia or look at where that bone is. You can understand that fracture means he's going to probably have to undergo. Depending on how severe it is, if he has to undergo surgery or whatnot, they have to just first put an MRI on that one. So 10 days just to see what happens.
It's probably what it is. And there's probably a decent chance that he can go down for the rest of the year once that 10 days concludes, if things don't improve. Or a 30-day DL, and then after a 30-day or 60-day DL, if he doesn't come back by that point, then I can see them pulling the plug for the rest of the year. Because Mike Trout's still fairly young enough to have a good amount of years left in him. There's no point continuing working through something that can make it worse if he doesn't heal up. So
it's one of the carpal. According here, it says its functions. It's the carpal bone's function. It's one of the carpal bones, and its function as a unit to provide a bony superstructure for the hand. So if it's at the base of your hand, right where your wrist is, you can't rotate your hand as properly as you want. So you can't move your wrists. So that would require surgery if it's severely fractured, but that depends.
Okay.
It could be out for a while. Even if the 10 days, because the 10 days is just basically an assessment, correct?
Mm-hmm. That's pretty much what a 10-day IL is basically an assessment. It's not that often that someone will come back from a 10-day IL unless it's a very, very, very minor injury or illness or something. But other than that, I mean, we saw 10-day ILs working during COVID, I guess, if people got COVID or something. I mean, but at the same time, the protocols were a little bit different with that. But I do want to switch gears for a second, because we got Cole and some others in the chat that weren't here at the beginning of the show, and we had this topic up.
Right.
Cole, I want to ask you and some of you others in the chat, what do you think are some of the best 4th of July sports moments in history? And the one that I gave was the speech by Lou Gehrig in 1939, because they honored him on 4th of July because he had just retired the month prior when he was diagnosed with ALS. I said that was probably my best sports moment in history because of the farewell speech that he gave, and acknowledging the fans. And also the other part of that statement, I would say, what do you think is your best contribution an individual can make to a 4th of July cookout? So if you are hearing me right now, best contribution an individual can make to a 4th of July cookout and best 4th of July sports moments, let us know. We'll acknowledge it before we get on out of here in a short little bit. But back to MLB, we were talking about Mike Trout and the injury that he just suffered. Thank you, Mickey Delaney, for letting us know about that so we could bring that up for breaking news. But out of all the teams in the MLB, and I know you're kind of giving me some down the middle answers, Sick, and not really leaning one way or the other. But I want to see if you'll switch gears on this one. When you think of all the teams in MLB, all 30 teams, okay, is there a particular team that at this point in the season is catching your eye that normally wouldn't catch your eye throughout the trajectory of a season, even to this point? It could be the Reds and Ellie De La Cruz, any team out there. Are there any team that's just like surprising you, like what in the father is going on out here with this team? How did they get so good, or how did they get so bad?
I can't really say right now. I mean, I just like to just try to stay as neutral as possible because I used to have a favorite team, but not anymore. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I've learned to kind of not get too heavily involved in the teams and just watch the games, enjoy the process, and see who can do what, because every season is different.
Mm-hmm.
But the question is, what teams are going to sock the Astros in the mouth in the regular season? Because remember, they are the defending World Series champions. And Cole understands exactly what I mean by that, because our good friend Brian Snow says, to be the champs, you gotta beat the champs.
And
right now, where are they? Houston right now, they're trailing behind the Rangers 3 games in the AL West. But don't count them out yet. It's still halfway through the season. This is not, you see right now what's going on. It's still, like you said, it's still halfway through the season. We got to wait till what happens by the end of July, going into August. Who has the momentum then? Because momentum will be shifting.
The Rangers,
not always in the first third, but the second third. The Rangers have it right now, but anything could happen. Anything could change. After post 4th of July, after the All-Star break, who knows?
And the Rangers have been making some moves to improve on all aspects of that team, the bullpen, the field, everything. Like, they've been making moves to improve that team before the season started and during the season. I already gave away my surprise team as far as the accomplishments for the season earlier in the Miami Marlins, and I'm surprised that they are in second in NL East. But the what the father moment that I have for the entire season as far as the worst team in baseball, and before it was the Kansas City Royals, because now they're 25-60, and at the time that I went off on them, they had the worst record in MLB. But now that has switched gears, and I have to give credit to Joseph Raymond and others who had said before I even said it that the Oakland Athletics are the absolute worst team in MLB. They are playing
thus far.
Yes, and they are playing like a bunch of dumpster pelicans. It is sad to watch the Oakland Athletics on television. It is sad if you ever have to watch them on primetime television on ESPN. It is an absolute train wreck to watch them not only pitch the ball, but field the ball. Then it is an absolute dumpster fire to watch them at the plate as offense, as attacking the ball, because they are nowhere even close to the money ball roster that they had assembled while ago, like almost 2 decades ago. That's how long it's been. Now you are so far removed from that they are talking about relocating you to another city because there's nobody coming to watch you. There's nobody coming to watch you at the stadium. There's nobody watching you on TV when they have the chance. And there's hardly anybody talking good things about you. It's all negative. It's time for a change. And the change is this offseason.
Well, first of all, Drew, thank you for your impression of Steve Odekirk in the movie High Strung, which I still remember, featuring Jim Carrey as Death. And I said, hey, you should see me because we discussed mental health issues before. I've mentioned mine, which is the source of my inspiration. And sometimes in the winter, when it's the best contribution I can give to a cookout is grilling chicken and burgers. My goal next year is to grill brisket.
Cole, I'm coming to Tennessee. Coming to Tennessee from July.
It's going to be a Texas-Tennessee blend right there when you come over. Because I'm sure the folks in Tennessee, they got their own style. In Texas, they got their own style. But then again, Texas itself.
We'll call it 10 Mex. 10 Mex. Not real Ken Griffey Jr. broke it and hand it, remember, and come back from it. I'm guessing he's talking about Ken Griffey Jr. had a similar injury to Mike Trout and came back from it. So if he can come back from it, Mike Trout can come back from it.
Hey, I remember when he tore his ACL back in, was it 2000, 2001?
Mm-hmm.
When he was with the Reds?
I look like Wilson from Home Improvement right here. when I do that, I come down here. I want to see. I want to see if the Rays have it in them to do it, and they might
go all the way.
And they've been teasing it at certain points throughout the past decade. They just haven't been able to fully come through. Is it time that we see the Rays actually go full throttle and get this sick?
If they don't, they will be the biggest dirty tease of MLB this season. And hence I said, a dirty tease, folks. A dirty tease. And now you got me all high strung about it right now. But just to get back on topic. I remember having a discussion with a cousin of mine who lives in NorCal. But of course, he's a Giants fan. Long-time Giants fan. But talking about Oakland right now, you understand they are not in the best place because right now their game is not what it is. Their records is deplorable. And also they have this dark cloud over their head because they're going to be relocating to Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And people are thinking, what's in Vegas? What's in Vegas? Because you understand, the Golden Knights, who just won the Stanley Cup. Did you see their parade?
No. The Stanley Cup parade? No, I did not see
the Stanley Cup parade. When they came home and they had the parade. From what I understand, not a lot of people that were out there. But then again, Las Vegas is not known for it's not that type of market when it comes to sport. It is.
I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you, but I wanted to point out Victor Locke. I love that.
Everybody's favorite Chicagoan. Victor. Or Vitor, as we would call him. Actually, my mother tongue Victor's first name would be Awit. Because it means he who is victorious. Because Victor means the victorious one.
Okay. I mean, I like it. I like it, Vic. I like it. I like the name. But
like I said, the Astros will be trailing the Rangers by 5 games before this weekend. They took 3 out of 4 in Arlington and are now sitting 3 out.
Yep.
Thank
So
you,
that
Cole.
the
Wait,
Cole
are they
giving us
playing today?
I don't think
Let me check the
so.
scores here.
No, they're not playing today. I just looked at it.
Right now.
Oh, wait, no, they play at
Scores
4:10. They play the Rockies at 4:10 in Houston. That's where so they are playing today. So
And as we sit, we know the Marlins are right now. It's the bottom of the 7th. The Marlins are just having their way with the Cardinals at home, and it's 8-0. They right now bottom of the 7th, 1 out with a runner on first. What is going on?
And just like Cole said on the NL side, the Braves look good, but if I have to look at the Diamondbacks and Marlins, that's it. And you know, I'm just surprised that we're talking about the Marlins, like it you know, this point in the season, like, you know, I'm not surprised in this exact moment, but earlier this year, if you were to discuss the Marlins being a threat, I would have laughed at you. I would not have seen that being an actual thing. KC is a dumpster fire as well. Yes, they definitely are. Kansas City Royals definitely are a dumpster fire, Mick. Victor Locke says burgers for me as well as fireworks. Absolutely. That's definitely a good 4th of July tradition right there. Sick is right. You got to beat the champs. Other than the Rays, there isn't a team in the American League that puts fear in the Astros. No, the Sick was definitely
hold
right.
on. Wait a minute. You saying it wrong, man. Hold on.
Do it.
Because, you know, Cole is known as Cole Flair. So, Sick is right. You got to beat the champs. Other than the Rays, woo, there isn't a team in the American League that puts fear in the Astros, baby. Woo! And right now, I just want to style and profile. I'm going to dance all night and dance a little bit longer. And I know Cole's going to be dancing all night and dancing a little bit longer after this.
He follows it up with Oakland is staging reverse boycotts. The team is so bad. Yes, it really is.
Could it be that the players are purposely having a bad showing just to show solidarity with the city of Oakland and protesting the move? Because they're moving next season, is it, to Vegas?
That it's the debate is there for it. I haven't seen anything set in stone, but it's looking like they're gonna move because the attendance is so bad. It's just so bad. Not only that, but the play of the game, the players, their playing style is not where it should be. It looks like you got a bunch of single A ball players out there on the field, and I feel like if they even brought their single A team up and replaced them,
feel or you think
they would probably play better.
I'm sorry, Drew. You feel or you think? I'm sorry. Understand me. I understand we all feel a certain way, but sometimes I say, can we just say I think this way? I understand when we say feeling, sometimes I get confused because are we talking about our gut feeling here or emotionally we talking here?
I don't talk emotionally with sports, so I feel and I think is the same thing when it comes to talking sports.
Because at least I get confused by these terms sometimes.
No, you're good. I get it. No, you're good. But it's like me. That's just how I look at it. That's my intellectual part of it. It's because I just don't see anything going their way to keep them in Oakland. The fans don't even want to go to the games. They don't even want to play there. What's the point of even continuing this thing on?
Not to mention they've had this discussion before, like on Snowman in the Morning. They talked about how the reputation of the city of Oakland is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the city has been demonized. Have you ever been to Oakland?
Nope.
Oakland, they say, is kind of rough, but then again, the Bay Area, that side of the Bay Area is not as bad as some people say. I mean, you got good neighborhoods like places like Concord, which are pretty cool, pretty decent. The city of Oakland is predominantly black, but it's not a hellhole. There are rougher places besides Oakland itself. I mean, I remember, was it D.L. Hewley when he did one of his specials in Oakland? He said, Oakland is rough, but a city nearby called Richmond is not a place to be messing around with.
It's not.
So that reputation has, oh yeah. But the thing is like we said, Oakland being demonized as it is, That's kind of affected. That's why the Warriors relocated from there and crossed the bridge into San Francisco. You never hear anything negative about San Francisco.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the Pac Bell Park as well for the Giants. You used to have the old Candlestick Park, and the Niners have never left. Of course, they relocated stadiums, but everything good about the Bay Area is San Francisco. Everything negative they have to place with Oakland. So that has factored in.
So before we go too much further, I found an article I kind of want to read a little bit of an excerpt from that is based on what we're talking about here. The Oakland A's moved one step closer to their proposed relocation to Las Vegas with the Nevada legislature in the special occasion approving Senate Bill 1 signed by Governor Joe Lombardo. SB 1 provides a $1.5 billion, 30,000 seat stadium on the Las Vegas Strip. The bill caps public funding of the stadium at $380 million and does not raise taxes. More than $1.1 billion would be privately financed by the A's. Public funding is limited to $380 million, coming from $120 million in bonds issued by Clark County, combined with revenue from a special tax district around the stadium and transferable tax credits worth $180 million. The A's will pay back $120 million of that over the life of the agreement. A $25 million credit from Clark County will pay the infrastructure improvements. So basically, they're working on the actual funding part of how this is going to get paid for to get this actual deal done. A 9-acre ballpark will be built on the site of the 35-acre Tropicana Las Vegas Casino Resort. After the Tropicana is demolished, it's unknown as to what will be built around the stadium. SB 1 prevents a casino or hotel from being constructed in the stadium district. The A's have signed a commitment to play in the stadium for 30 years. The A's committed to a community benefits agreement, ensuring the financial donations to service groups. The A's expect to play in the stadium when the 2028 season begins. The A's may play games at 10,000-seat Las Vegas ballpark until the stadium is ready. They have 1 year remaining on their lease in Oakland. So they basically have to play through this season and 2024 before they can relocate to honor the current deal that they are in Oakland. But I feel like, outside of reading that excerpt, I feel like if this keeps going the way they are, the way they're playing, the way that attendance has been showing up, they may get pushed out a little bit sooner. We may see them start next year somewhere else. But it's tough to tell. It depends on how the second half of the season goes first.
Well, speaking of Las Vegas, here's a scary thought. What if an NBA franchise either starts there or relocates to Las Vegas?
Well, we've already got football in Las Vegas. So, I mean, that's already a step to bringing more fans and fandom into sports into that area. And NBA isn't there yet. We don't have basketball there yet. But I feel like in time,
actually do have basketball there. NCAA.
You do
have the NCAA. I'm talking. University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
Yeah, but I'm talking about professional. Yeah, professional wise, like.
No, I get it. But they do have a base for that for basketball there in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
So if an NBA team decides to relocate there, there's always they can start. There is UNLV fans are probably going to be more than happy to welcome that team in.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how things pan out on that side of it. Stick with us on the other side of it. We're going to get ready to roll on out of this one as we've been live for quite some time. It's been an hour and a half. We've gone live on the Sensei's today. I want to thank you for showing up and being here with me to discuss the things and topics within sports that we have. But before we do, what do you have? Are there any closing thoughts that you have to relinquish before we get on out of here?
I just want to say one thing. Don't ever, if you're coming to a cookout, don't ever bring potato salad and there's raisins in it. What? 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 That doesn't make any sense. I mean, where I'm from, they'll use it to make mead, which is honey wine, by the way. But raisins and potato salad, I'm like, who in their right mind?
I've never had a potato salad with raisins in it, and I don't ever want to try it. I'm not interested in that.
These antics are the antics of Sick Diggy are brought to you by Screwball VPN. The VPN all the way out of left field. In association with Slackdraw VPN, where the slacking be smooth.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time today, Sick. Stay in the green room. I'll see you on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and give my closing statement, and then we'll have the outro.
All right, cool.
Out of here. Well, guys, first of all, want to send well wishes to my guy, the Snowman, Brian Snow, who is a little under the weather today and unable to make it onto episode 27 of the Sports Senseis. I hope I did him well. I know we went over today and went 90 minutes as opposed to the normal hour show. So this probably won't be on the radio. If it does make it WQEE, thank you for broadcasting it and for playing this on the next day. If not, I get it. But we had to keep this show going for today as it's our normal time slot. We had to go on Tuesday and keep it going. Plus, I had prepared a great episode and wanted to make sure that I got the topics out there, and we did. We discussed the best 4th of July sports moments, did a little bit of gossip within the Michael Jordan family, some best contributions an individual can make to an actual 4th of July cookout, and, of course, the latest in MLB, Shohei Ohtani, and just sports in general, as we had a fun episode 27 trying to keep it going for the Snowman here on this 4th of July special. For those of you who want to go back and check out In or Out Sports Debate, episode 93 was last night. It is on Sertoba Media. Thank you guys who were there, part of the live production, and who are going to go back and watch it syndicated. And just for any and all feedback that you guys have for that show. For my man, the Snowman, Brian Snow, for Sick Diggy, for those of you out there who are in the chat, we only have one more thing left to do, and that is look at one badass outro by Cole Johnson. I am Drew Willingham. Everybody stay safe out there in these streets.